Super Bowl 2021 took place just last weekend. Now I realise that's already old news, but at the moment I have to set up my camera and lights and build up this whole set, including this bookshelf every time I want to do a video, and that takes ages. Maybe if you like, comment, subscribe and press the notification bell, then I can pretend that I play Raid Shadow Legends or something, and then I can afford a more permanent setup. Now for those of you who are unfamiliar with the Super Bowl, it's a great big advertising festival over in America, but it's not all just adverts. Sometimes they interrupt those adverts for a pop concert at half time. I stayed up to watch the Super Bowl with my flatmates once a few years ago, but it was on BBC, which doesn't even show adverts. We ended up having to sit through some sort of sports match, which took place both before and after the pop concert. Whoever performs the halftime show is only given 12 minutes to perform all of their biggest hits, so you're not getting any more than 20 seconds for each song. That way they make sure that yes, if you don't like the performer, then the show will annoy you, but if you do like the performer, then the show will also annoy you. The stadium was less full this year because of social distancing restrictions. That's a good thing though, because if all of those empty seats had people in them, then those people would be missing the adverts. So speaking of adverts, there was an Amazon one with Michael B. Jordan in it, and another one for the Robin Hood app.
You don't need to become an investor. You were born one. Robin Hood.
This meme comes to mind. There was this Stellar ad with Lenny Kravitz in it.
We're all born with 2.5 billion heartbeats. That makes you a billionaire.
Did you hear that? Apparently I'm a billionaire and therefore dead rich because of something to do with heartbeats. That means I can eat tonight. I'll be right back. Do you accept heartbeats? I'm rich, I've got loads of them. Lenny Kravitz said it would be okay. So let's talk about some film and TV trailers. Falcon and the Winter Soldier certainly looks expensive and epic. Don't worry though, they probably put all of the expensive and epic stuff in this trailer, and the rest of the actual show won't be as good. It looks as though they're going for a sort of buddy cop vibe. I'm a bit confused, because the last time we saw these characters back in Avengers Endgame, they appeared to be pretty good mates. So I think what has happened to these characters, and I'm just speculating here, is since the events of the last Avengers film, one of the writers saw Tango and Cash and decided to copy off of that. Yes! F9 or Fast and Furious 9. I'm interested in watching this because they filmed a big chase scene in town in Edinburgh. Once when I was in Edinburgh, in town, one car turned down a road that only buses and taxis are allowed to drive on, which is just about all of them. Anyway, all of the pedestrians start swarming around the car to shout at the driver, who's stopped to do a U-turn, so has clearly already acknowledged that he's made an error, but that hasn't stopped angering the increasingly sized swarm of pedestrians. One of them in particular, wearing a coat with macaroni pie and iron brew, spilled all down the front of said coat, and now almost lying over the front of the car. So I'm very keen to see Vin Diesel trying to get a street race going, only to be thwarted by short-tempered pedestrians covered in pastry, and he'll be curled up in the footwell of his muscle car, looking really flustered, and not being able to understand what any of the Scottish obscenities being shouted through his window mean. And then the buses show up and start beeping, and the bus drivers in Edinburgh are even more short-tempered than the pedestrians. By the way, the TV spot that was released was much shorter than what it just took me to tell that story. So most of this B-roll is actually from the trailer that was released over a year ago for last year's Super Bowl. Maybe I'll have more to say about Fast and Furious 9 after they show another trailer at next year's Super Bowl. Halftime show. This year they had the Weeknd. Don't worry about social distancing, there are mirrors in there, it's a trick with mirrors. Now the Weeknd is sort of like synth pop meets trap. That's a polite way of saying synth pop that contains fewer notes in it. The sound quality isn't very good. I'm going to assume that the person who was supposed to be in charge of the sound for this broadcast forgot his mask, so he wasn't allowed in the stadium and he had to record it on his phone from outside the venue in his car.
Old. Only in theaters this summer.
Old. This premise is intriguing actually, but it's an M. Night Shyamalan film, so it's probably just a load of silly nonsense. Coming to America. It's a sequel to a classic 80s comedy that starred Eddie Murphy and Arsenio Hall. Oh come on now, those characters were on death's door 33 years ago, how are they still alive?
I'm back! Say it again!
So that's all I have to say about the Super Bowl trailers. Usually there's more to talk about, but let's face it, nothing new is coming out this year. Who won the Super Bowl anyway? Was it soup or was it bowl?